Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we've got something rather quirky. Now this watch is my Corum. Now it's quite unusual. The name is the jumping hours. The actual reference number I think is 145-20120. Now this watch came out in the early 2000s and it has a very cool movement. Obviously quite an unusual dial layout, but I got this watch I think around about, I think it was 2013, the early part of 2013, and there was only one reason why I brought this watch. Well, actually I'll get to that in a second. Let's talk a bit more about the stats before we get into it too much. The case diameter of this one is 42. The thickness of a watch, including that slightly domed crystal, is 11.5 mil. The lug to lug is quite long at 50 mil, and the bracelet size, well, strap size on this is 21, a little bit of a strange size. So this, as we can see, is very different, and also very different from the kind of watches I normally wear. I normally like the more tool kind of orientated watches, but this watch I do find is quite special, and it's something a little bit different. So if we zoom in on the dial, you'll get to see why it is different. Now, as we can see, we've got ever such a strange arrangement on the dial, but you can see there probably why I brought this watch when I had the chance. As it's a limited edition, only 300 were made, and this one happens to be number 001, which is quite unusual to get the actual first edition. Normally they aren't actually released to the public, but somehow this got into the public hands and I ended up buying it. So as you can see from this dial, you know, some people haven't got a foggiest what the time actually is, because they look at this and they see that's you know, the third. Well, where's the time? Well, actually that isn't a date window, that's actually the hour window. So it's actually relatively simple to tell the time. You start at the top and work your way down. So it's 3 o'clock and the actual time is 39. So 3:39, and there's your running second hand. So actually it is very simple, but you do have to think about it at first when you do look at this. And some people aren't sure what the heck the actual time is. But I do love that quirkiness about it. Now the way it actually changes you see the jumping hour effect here. Now the crown, which is signed, isn't screwed down because it's not a diver, even though it does have 50-meter water resistance. As you can see, coming round there, that big broad hand slightly covers up the hour hand, the hour window, which may seem absolutely stupid, but they do it because you don't see the change. So you see here, if I whiz through, it's witchcraft, I tell you, pure witchcraft. So I love the way it flicks through, but you don't actually see it jump, which is quite a funky kind of thing to do, really. Now the dial itself has got texture running through it, and you also have a slightly different dial texture layout on the running seconds hand. So as you can tell, when the crown is pulled out, it doesn't hack. So you do still have a constantly moving second hand there, which I would have liked if it did hack, but it's not the end of the world. Also, there is 0 lume on this dial, which I do like lume, to be fair, because I know this is more of a dress watch versus a tool watch, but the only problem I find is, you know, you go to the cinema, anywhere like that, you want to know the time, you can't tell on a watch with no lume, and you don't exactly want to light up your mobile phone in a cinema or just that kind of thing. So I do like to see some lume, and this one doesn't. So not the end of the world. Now the actual movement as well is a manual, so you do actually have to hand wind it. The actual caliber of this, I think it's the Corum call it the CO154H3. Now that's a 20 joule hand wind. It's got a power reserve of about 42 hours. It's actually quite a weird movement because it is rectangular in a round watch. Now why they did this I can only presume that they had a batch of movements they wanted to use up. And so I'll drop a picture and you'll actually see they fitted it into a round watch, which is quite bizarre, but you know, let's face it, it's Corum. When it comes to bizarre, Corum are the masters of bizarre. So that's why I only presume that's why they actually did it. Setting the time on this watch, as you can see, is straightforward. Now, if you wind it backwards, it doesn't jump. So you can't, if you've got to go through the hour sequence to actually set the time, which is no great hardship, to be fair. So it just looks, I think that looks so funny. It's like witchcraft. You don't see the jump of the hand, and there you go. And lots of people still, when you show it, they just really don't have any idea what it is. So as we start looking around and say, you've got a sapphire crystal on top with ever such a subtle dome to it. Now, as for anti-reflective coating, I don't believe there is any, because it does, you can see the camera reflections in it and everything else. So I can't really say it has any. It might, if it has, it only has a very small amount. As we come out from that, we have this lovely smooth bezel. Now, the architecture on the side is very weird. It's almost Art Deco kind of. You have this strange kind of arrangement around the side. In a second, that will make a bit more sense. As we look to the back, we have this concaved back on there with the Corum logo. Let's zoom in a little bit there. So you can see that it's ever so well done, actually. It's not screwed down. It's it's 6 screws holding the case back in. The lugs are ever so kind of chunky for what it is from the side profile anyway. But as I say, it does have this weird party piece, as if the dial wasn't enough. If I hold it like this and apply some pressure to the top, weird. How's that for absolutely bizarre? So it does move around like that. Why? I'm not quite sure. I think Corum think it's a comfort thing, but it actually takes a little bit of force to move that, so I don't know why you would actually want that. So let me see, is that lined up? Not quite. So, but there you go. It is a bit of a strange one. I'm not quite sure why we do it. And you see there is actually 2 screws on the back of this side. So, oh God, I've got to clean this watch. So, let me zoom back out. Now, fitted to this is its original strap, albeit I don't normally wear it on this strap. It's, again, a little bit too dressy for me. So I don't normally wear it on this, but this is its Crocodile Strap. It has its butterfly clasp here, which is actually all very nicely done. Actually finished quite nicely, press down, and then slot through and in. I'm not going to press it in actually because I'm aware, but it is actually very well done. So that's on there. Pull that out. One of the things which really drew me to this watch as well is it's kind of it's definitely not trying to be a Rolex. Let's face it. It's right out there on its own. It really is that little bit unusual. If I actually show you the case it came in, it comes in quite a cool case as well. So this comes in a white box, and we have all this in there, the Corum logo, which is all very nice. So, and then you get a little booklet. This tells me more about the limited edition and the bits and pieces about it, which, yeah, they did do a really nice job on this. I'll actually show it on my wrist so you can get an idea a bit more about it. A quick wrist strap. I'm wearing a Rolex OP39. Dale was saying that's not trying to be a Rolex, but I don't mind if it is a Rolex being a Rolex. So my wrist size, I've said before, I'll say again, is a fraction over 7 inches. So let me just do this. Let me just do it off camera. It's a tad bit easier. And there it is. So it looks quite a big watch because there is so much dial there. There's no bezel, no nothing like that. So it does actually look quite a big watch on the wrist. And I say it's not for everyone. You know, granted, not everyone would like this kind of watch, but I think it just looks really quite different and cool. So I don't know, what's your thoughts? is this something you'd ever consider buying? Obviously Corum are known for their pretty outlandish, funky watches, and this definitely is one of them. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you at the next watch review. So stay safe out there. Any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Okay, all the best. Take care. Bye.